There we go. Finally. I think I've had this mic silenced this whole time. Fantastic. Great start. A link that would, we did belatedly realize, be weakened most perilously in the process of rendering our swords dormant, as orthocyte doth require, thus the shredding of these fleshy simulacra in the storefront of aether which comprise them, would in all likelihood deprive us of our psyches as well. It would theoretically be possible to channel your minds into the oversight instead, but we would more than likely be sacrificing your soul in the process, which is why we might have abandoned that plan and instead devoted our time to finding a means by which mind and soul might be transported together. We are no closer to a solution than when we first began. If it is a vexing conundrum indeed, but one which the Crystal Exarch has positioned a most intriguing solution. When our discussions turned to the transference of memories and psyche, I could not help but be reminded of a technique from which I have personally experienced. Do you recall what you have learned from my eyes of our encounter from Doga and Uni? I speak of the royal eye of Allegan Imperial line, gifted to my forefathers through the blood and memories of the ancient Allegans. By this gift that I am able to control the Crystal Tower. We are to gain an understanding of the technology by which Allegans were able to accomplish this transference. Perhaps then we could keep mind and soul together. Imagine, if you will, a device like onto the soul crystal, replete not only with our worldly memories, but also the bountiful energies of the soul. That is our current avenue of investigation, and we would follow it wherever it leads. While we are thus engaged, I think it's best that Lion return to the source and inform Krail and the others of our findings. Agreed. I imagine Tatara will be relieved to hear we've made progress of a sort. Then I would beg leave to relay our findings unto Thancred and Rhine, and to assist where I may in the investigation of the empty. Yes, please do. Should we have need of your counsel, we will not hesitate to summon you. Give her regards to Tatara, would you? Okay. I'm guessing she's going to be Ordona. Not what I wanted. Lion, you're back. How did everything go in the first? Wait, don't tell me. Krail will hear you shortly. She'll want to hear too. She's just fitting off the others. Their bodies, I mean. God, I don't think I could get used to say that. Anyway, we should tell everything the moment she gets here. On speaking with Tataro, several cutscenes were playing in sequence. Okay, yeah, I've got plenty of time.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I've carried out the treatment as per Master Matoya's instructions. It should slow the destabilization of their corporeal ether quite significantly. But tell me, how fare our friends in the first?
So this Becklug's the first to lead an authority on soulcraft, are they? Sounds promising.
And Urianger's proffered solution of white auracite is rather ingenious now that I think of it. Well, while they press on with their preparations, you may rest assured we will continue to do our part here.
Oh, you're back. And none the worse for wear, I see.
Estinian! Oh, thank the gods! We've been worried sick. Did you lose your link pearl or something?
The situation in Garlemald has become more complicated. I was making my escape from the capital when I ran into one of yours, Riol. He thought it best we come straight here.
More complicated how?
Where to begin? After entering the Empire via Razat Han, I went about my mission of investigating Black Rose. It was then, inside a provincial factory, that I encountered the one who styles himself Shadow Hunter, Gaius Baelsar. Our goals being apparently aligned, we joined forces and ventured on into the heart of the capital, to the very Imperial Palace itself. There, we found a man whom all assumed dead. But his soul lives on, and he has wrested back his flesh. Xenos Ye Galvas. Nor did the surprises end there, for no sooner had we arrived than he murdered his sire in cold blood. The Emperor is dead. This sent Gaius into a rage, and he charged in, blade drawn. What's wrong?
I've seen him in action, his body at least. Will not best him alone. My death will not come easily to that thing. If you would join me, then by all means. What good it will do. Black Wolf and the Azure Dragoon. Suppose this might suffice. Come then. Jeez. Ah, the simple pleasures of my own flesh. Truly there is no place like home. abomination. Whatever he is, and was barely a match for him. We are stay here much longer. Emperor Varys, your radiance, are you alright? May have worn out our welcome. Radiance! Oh! Must even the most meddling of sport be soiled? The world conspires to bore me. I have no cause to remain. I leave these vermin to you. Wait, so he's got teleportation magic now? Well, any bright ideas? Just one. Jeez. Why are all like the bad guys just have badass moments? The intruders have taken flight. I repeat, the intruders have taken flight. Deploy all available magic armor. We cannot let them escape. I was like Gaius. I'd like to see more of him. Okay. Oh, shit. I got a combo. Wasn't expecting to actually play as these guys now. Can I play as Gaius? He seems so much more badass. I don't know, but the city's cool too, so can't complain. Do, 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 do. What? You would bar my way, would you? So be it. Come, Nidhogg. Let me your Nidhogg! What? I kind of forget what happened. Didn't... I guess his spear did get soaked up in the blood of Nidhogg, so... Just like his armor from before. Maybe that's what he means. Let's see here. Oh, that's good. Deliver an attack of 500 damage over time. Okay, yes. Deliver an attack of 600 to potency to all nearby targets. It's an AoE. As well as enemies in proximity to those initially affected. Got 2 AoEs. Oh, god damn it. Oh, why did that do so much damage? Holy shit. I guess we're just kind of... Uh-oh.
Taste my lungs.
So many badass characters. Aliens in this machina. Where are you, Gaius?
Are you all right?
Peer into my past, did you?
Well, I didn't quite relive the experience as you did, but I bore witness to it all.
I'm still not sure what I think of this gift of yours, but no matter. Our confrontation was cut short when the Imperial Guard arrived. It was then that Xenos took his leave, citing boredom.
To think their research into the Echo could bear such fruit. Escaping death, jumping from one body to the next, and returning to his own after all this time. He is an Ascian in all but name.
It beggars belief, aye. But no more than a hero traversing the rift between worlds. My concerns are far more prosaic. With the Emperor dead and the Crown Prince missing, the Empire is in disarray. Until order is restored, assuming it's even possible, we needn't fear an Imperial reprisal. And for reasons of his own, Xenos took it upon himself to rid the world of Black Rose. Riol has already gone to apprise the Alliance leaders of these developments. We may leave the matter in their hands for now.
Then perhaps we have seen the last of the fighting at Gimlet. Though, if it comes to civil war, I cannot help but fear for the provinces.
Everything's being kind of nicely tied up in a bow. Because we don't have to worry about like Black Rose. Xenos is still out there being a dick. Elizabeth is still out there being a dick.
Ah, I'd nearly forgotten to ask. What became of Gaius? Did he not escape with you?
That he did, but we parted ways shortly after leaving Garlemald. He claimed another threat had arisen which demanded his attention. He didn't elaborate, but the absence of some device or other in the capital gave him reason to believe they're planning something. Lest you worry, I believe he has well and truly shed the Black Wolf's pelt. Conquest is no longer his objective. We may safely leave him to his own devices.
Well, it's nice to have one less foe to worry about, even if we do have a mysterious new threat to look out for instead. Speaking of which, I'll see that Riol and our shinobi are made aware. Though we still know next to nothing, it can't hurt to be vigilant.
Well then, with Black Rose nipped in the bud, I believe I've fulfilled my part of the bargain.
That's true, but with the Archon still slumbering away, we were hoping you might agree to stay with us for a little bit longer.
Sorry, but I'm not inclined to extend my contract. Gaius isn't the only one with business to attend to.
Help then, Estinian. I see why Alphino admires you so.
Farewell, my friend. See that you don't make a habit of dozing off in battle.
I suppose we should all be getting on then. As ever, we will see to the Archon's needs. In the meantime, why not get some rest? You've more than earned it. Go on.
Must be shattered after all of that hopping back and forth between worlds. Why don't you stay here and rest for a while? I'm sure Beglug can manage without you. They've got enough science to help them if you ask me. More cutscenes! All the cutscenes. Traitors, you dared deny Lord Nava the throne? Oh, we're back to this shit, where they're fighting each other for the throne. Onward, before this day is done, victory will be ours. Boring, boring, boring. Do you think I find it amusing like dogs herding the cattle to slaughterhouse? The little bit. You. Your soul is... Who are you? Before your majesty, I am but another dog, lost in want of a new master. A hunting dog if you should wish it so. For I know full well the prey you would seek next. Zodiac. Who the fuck was that? Okay, why not? We're this late game and we're still getting new characters to the board. Did you hear? The mayor's reopening Dynalith Stonework, and they're looking for laborers. There's talk of resettling some of the old abandoned villages too. They're even laying on free talos to help anyone willing to make the move. Free talos. Best get packing. Did he work? Board and lodging? That's not the recipe for hope. I don't know what is. Hope. Wait. What? Yes. As long as I yet live, I will see that feeble flame rekindled. What the hell? My destiny. See our dream fulfilled. Line, what a pleasant surprise. You come to inquire about the Archon, fear not. Master Matoya's treatment has proven effective in stabilizing the corporeal aether. We mustn't grow complacent, however. Potent though these magics may be, they're not without limits. We can only hope they afford us enough time for the Crystal Exarch to complete his work. Only we could go to the first and help. Pardon the interruption, but I've come bearing urgent news. My lion, it's been far too long, my friend. Forgive me, I don't believe we've been formally introduced. Maxima, former Garlean ambassador. I remain here in Eorzea under the auspices of Commander Ardun, offering what counsel I can in hopes of resolving the present conflict with the Empire. Ah, yes, I've heard stories of a defector from Garlemald. Never mind that. You said you have urgent news? Indeed, as you may have heard, the Imperial capital is in turmoil, and a sizable portion of the Garlean forces have been recalled from the Gimlet Dark. With their numbers so greatly diminished, the main host of the Alliance has withdrawn, leaving the Alamegan resistance to keep watch over the border. And there is where we welcome a most unexpected visitor who claims that this de-escalated may bell growing dangers and unforeseen threats. Commander Alduin has arranged for an impromptu meeting to discuss these revelations. He has also requested a representative of the Scions attend as well, though it was clear to whom he wished I extend this invitation. It would seem time is of the essence. Well, you may not be attending this meeting alone, though I am not as well versed in affairs of city-states as our comrades. I see no reason to burden a single Scion with all this. Yes, of course. Then we must make for Alamegan Quarter with all haste. Oh, what are you waiting for? Get going, you two. Waits in the Royal Palace if you would follow me. Okay.
They're here, Commander.
And I, for one, am grateful that they are. Told you've been busy since our paths last crossed at the Gimlet Dark. Not that I understand half of it. When the Scions spoke of other worlds, I'd struggled to describe what I pictured. Mayhap things would seem clearer were I to hear the tale from your own lips. But I'm afraid the situation will not afford us that luxury. I trust you two require no introduction.
We meet again.
hero of Eorzea. Must we repeat this ridiculous display? I pose no threat to you, though what I come to warn you of very well might. Had he meant to do us harm, I hazard he would have kept to the shadows, and brought more than 2 companions. We need not pretend to be the best of friends, but I hope we can put aside our differences for the present. As you are doubtless aware, Sir Estinian and I cooperated to rid the world of Black Rose in your absence. Our journey together took us as far as the Imperial Palace, where we witnessed Emperor Varus meet his death at Xenos' hand. Being the sole witnesses to this crime, and in no position to defend our innocence, we were then forced to flee, each pursuing his own avenue of escape. When we were later reunited, Estinian claimed to have encountered an unfamiliar kind of machina during his flight. But to me, his description seemed anything but. And upon further investigation, I found that I was right. The Empire is developing a new Ultima weapon.
What, that Allagan monstrosity, created to vanquish primals, with which you yourself once thought to conquer Eorzea?
The same. In my foolishness, I sought to harness its power, and became the Ascian's pawn in so doing. But you know as well as I how that tale ended. The weapon itself, excavated from beneath this very city, was destroyed ere we could fully unravel its secrets, and that should have been the end of it. But unlikely as it sounds, the Empire's efforts to recreate it have somehow borne fruit, primarily through secret research conducted by the 7th Imperial Legion, it would seem.
Wait, the 7th was all but annihilated at Cartano, along with its Legatus.
Indeed, few survived. The 7th, as it is now, has little in common with the Legion led by Vandanis, and its leadership has changed hands several times since. Precisely how this project has continued despite such turmoil, and under whose auspices, remains a mystery. What we do know, however, is that a number of prototypes have been produced, and that one of them is on its way to Eorzea. We attempted to stop it, but it was all we could do to slow its progress, so we resolved instead to bring you warning.
And right glad are we that you did, though it soundly dashed our hopes that tensions might ease at last.
As it is, we've begun to strengthen our presence in the Gimlet Dark, and are assembling a force to meet the coming threat. A force with you in its vanguard, I hope. Before you say anything, I know full well you have pressing concerns of your own. Your comrades remain in peril, and I would not ask you to forsake them. But the fact remains that you, and you alone, have faced the Ultima weapon, and emerged victorious. And so, when the time comes, if your comrades can spare you, I bid you lend us your strength. I've assigned an officer to await your word. The Ascian's downfall was to be the work of my remaining days, but it was my hand that kindled these flames, and I cannot allow them to spread any further. I will do what I must to see this mistake consigned to history once and for all, even if it means begging your aid. The Fates will enjoy the irony, even as I endure the ignominy.
I too shall make for the border and offer my skills, meager though they seem in such company. Mayhap we shall meet there anon.
Though we can ill afford to ignore the coming of a new Ultima weapon, our friend's plight grows ever more precarious, and none save you can join them in the first. I only hope you are not forced to make a choice.
So is this setting up for the ruby weapon? That's what it seems to be, but I don't really know. As ever, the way forward is caved with difficult decisions. We can ill afford to ignore the threat of the new Ultima weapon, but with each passing day, the blight of the Scions become ever more perilous. You cannot stay for a briefing. If you cannot stay for a debriefing on the Ultima weapon, I would not stop you. I only ask that you confer with me upon returning to the first. Okay. I think you're ready to return to the first, and I would ask you to apprise the others of recent events here in the source, namely Xeno's return and development of the new Ultima weapon. After the buys, you can assure them Master Matoya and I will continue doing what we can to keep their corporeal aether stable. Safe travels, and I hope to see you and the other Scions soon. Let's grab this. Glad you could make it. As you may have heard, Commander Alduin has been giving orders to embark the Alliance headquarters to hold back the advance of the Imperial's latest menace. Not that the soldiers stationed here are too chuffed about being on the front lines against these new weapons. If they're designed to slay primals, then they make short work of mere mortals as well. Mind you of Gaius Belsar and his followers who have led the charge so far, by all accounts they've been given as good as they get. Fortunately, these sorties have met with little success. I dare say they've benefited greatly from your presence on the battlefield. If you're ready, my colleagues over at Porta Peritoria will show you the way. Let's continue main story. The side stuff I can do later. I want to try to get to as much of the story as I can. Any other pluses around here? No, it doesn't seem like it. I think we're good. You come at the most opportune time, my friend. I've made something of a breakthrough in my research of the soul and the means to return the Scions home. I trust you have been making good use of your time? Ill tidings from the source, you say. I will summon the others that we may praise blah 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 blah. Can't talk at all.
Now that we are all here, what news from the source? A new Ultima weapon. We must count ourselves lucky that Gaius has pledged his assistance.
While this is indeed a worrying development, I think the state of the Empire as a whole greater grounds for concern. With the Emperor slain and Xenos returned, it is impossible to predict how matters will unfold in Garlemald. The Ultima weapon may be but the first of many unpleasant surprises.
The situation beareth closer observation, of that there is no doubt, and doth compound our need to return unto the source.
Then let us address that issue. Our long search for a means to see you safely home may well be nearing its conclusion. Thanks in large part to Urianger and Beklug's invaluable insight, we have succeeded in fashioning a vessel for the journey.
We set out to create a crystalline container retaining the more useful properties of white aurosite, but without its regrettable limitations. And after a good deal of trial and error, we made one. An ark for soul and mind both that will allow your incorporeal self in its entirety to be ferried between worlds. A spirit vessel, if you will.
However?
Though the vessel is possessed of the requisite qualities to hold mind and memory, it wanteth yet for a means to receive of them. For that, we must needs imbue it with the Exarch's innate gift.
A gift that lives on only through the blood of the Allegan Emperors. Which certainly does not flow within all...
Hey! Hey, no! No, 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 no. God damn it, stupid lizard. Odoving, get your butt over here. What? Get in there. Better.
Just so. conduit of truth. In its absence, memory cannot pass from mind unto mind, nor from flesh unto crystal.
That being the case, we must either alter the process of inheritance so as to require no such thing, or determine a means by which my blood may permeate the vessel. I am hopeful that the records found within this tower will yield the knowledge we require to pursue one or the other of these avenues.
As well you should be. The Allegan's body of etherological research is extraordinary. I can scarce believe it the work of ages past. But its underlying principles are not so very different from those of my own field of study. Given time, we will find the answers we seek.
I know that you can ill afford to wait, and it pains me that I must ask you to do so. I can only reaffirm my promise to you that a solution will be found. Whatever it takes, I will see you safely home.
My apologies.
I do hope you haven't come to tell us that mortal peril fast approaches.
No. I had hoped to speak with the Warrior of Darkness. But there is no need to cut short your meeting on my account. I will be waiting outside.
Why not speak in here? She knows I don't mind. Unless she didn't want to.
Perhaps I might accompany you. Though I am woefully ill-qualified to assist in the Exarch's research, I may yet be of some use to Lena.
Please. I must confess, while I enjoy my fair share of scholarly research, it's a good time to step outside for a spot of fresh air. Now then, should we go and speak with Lena? Yeah, I could do all the other side stuff later. I'm sure all the content's kind of fun. But for now, I want to try to get through story. We have little time, so I will be brief. A Sin Eater has been sighted in Lakeland, and I ask your assistance in slaying it. Sin Eater? I had heard of the few yet remained that the night had returned, but perhaps we should call the others? It would not be necessary. It's only a single Sin Eater, a simple test for a guard, I should think. That said, I believe fighting alongside the Warrior of Darkness would be a valuable experience for them. These could lead to complacency, and they'd gain nothing from an easy victory. But you do not underestimate your foes. However harmless they may seem, my men will do well to learn from your example. Excellent. Then let's make for Fort Job. Okay, let's teleport right there. If you would be here a moment, I will gather the others. You may not remember, but you have met these soldiers once before, though only in passing. Long have they awaited the opportunity to fight at your side. The death's door the day after the Sun Eaters attacked. I am yours. If you and yours hadn't come along, I would likely have stepped through, and I wouldn't have been alone. Your courage and selflessness is something we all aspire to. I too was there on that terrible day. My friend was transformed into a Sun Eater before my very eyes. I had no little choice but to cut her down. The thought of returning to the field of holding a blade again filled me with dread. There's no way to honor her or my comrades, so I have returned. I swear that I will not let you or anyone else down from this day forward. Pleasure to meet you, sir. Truly, it seems like only yesterday I watched you take flight astride at Amuro to go and save the Oracle. Strange to think the Elmorian soldiers we once locked blades are now on our side. We will do our utmost to keep the peace here in Lakeland. You seem to be missing one. My apologies, Captain Lena. The elderly gentleman asked that I escort him to Clearmelt. It took longer than I anticipated. I'll not begrudge your desire to help those in need, but a soldier must be punctual, especially when we play host to honored guests. It won't happen again. The name's Taylor. I'm sure you don't remember, but once we met once before in the infirmary. I asked that you deliver a message to the Exarch and the Warrior of Darkness. Little did I know I was already talking to him. Don't give up. Don't give in. I keep those words close to my heart, and the boundless, beautiful skies above serve as a reminder of their importance. My friend got to see the knight's return shortly before he passed. He left this world with a smile, satisfied with the glimpse of what was to come. But there are countless others who weren't so fortunate. They gave their lives in the promise of a future they'll never know, and so it falls to us to do everything we can to fulfill that promise. No matter what happens, we won't give up. We won't give in. Your heroism has inspired all our guardsmen in much the same manner. Our scouts at the northern staging point have not had the pleasure of meeting you in person. Let's not keep them waiting.
Did you slay this eater? Your orders were to await the main force before engaging.
No, Captain. It wasn't us, I swear it. A man came out of nowhere and cut it down before we knew what was happening.
By himself? Certainly it is no light warden, but nevertheless.
It's true. Felled it with a So I says to him, who are you, the warrior of bleeding darkness? And he says, no, I'm a warrior of light. And that was it. Buggered off as quick as he came.
A warrior of light?
Why would someone go around calling himself that, though? It was those bastards who caused the flood. I mean, if you were going to pretend to be anyone, it'd be him, the Warrior of Darkness.
Eh? Oh, I didn't know. It's an honor.
Since the Eater is no longer a threat, our work here is done. Return to your posts.
I had hoped to fight at your side today. But I'll continue to follow your example, and may we meet again.
I apologize for the wasted journey. It seems I overestimated the threat. As for this Warrior of Light, I do not know who would be brazen enough to take that mantle for his own. Whatever it may once have meant, it is forever tainted by the association with the Flood. The Exarch told me the truth of Ardbert and his comrades' deeds, and I am aware they played some part in your own triumph. But to most, they are synonymous with the calamity that befell this world. Still, if this man is minded to destroy Sin Eaters, I may forgive him his unfortunate choice of alias. But that is neither here nor there. I thank you for accompanying me.
With that concluded, shall we return to the Crystarium? There is a proposal I should like to make.
Forgive me. There is one more thing. A personal concern of mine. I had hoped you might have a moment to speak privately.
Take your time. I shall go on ahead.
I will not mince words. This matter concerns the Exarch. Though his countenance belies his age, his demeanor never has. He has seen more than any man should and grown ever more weary with time. But I see I give the wrong impression. While it is true he attempted to open a letter with a salmon fillet the other evening, we are not here because I suspect his mind is deteriorating. Nor do I believe him to be so maddeningly unconcerned by the prospect of his own death as he once was. Indeed, the opposite is true. It is for this reason that I seek your advice. Since he returned from the Tempest, the Exarch is not as he was. He seems a different man, a younger man. I know not the details of his research, but when I saw him at work recently, there was a glint in his eye that I had never seen before. He looked happy. It was as if he had peered into the future and for the first time found joy there. Though it gladdens me to see him thus, I wonder if I should not keep my distance. I fear that my presence will only anchor him to the past, remind him of all the pain that came before. Are you sure? Then perhaps we might remain as we were. As we have always been. What a relief. In that case, I will have to speak with him about the amount of time he is spending at work. This research is important, I know, but if he refuses to consider his own health, I will have to consider it for him.
I'll not keep you. You and your comrades have much to discuss. I'll see the others back to their post. with Alpha Node now. Should be back in the Crystarium. Let's go ahead. See, I wonder how many of these missions I can actually get done. And then, what else can we do? I know I'm getting close to where I can buy another piece of gear. Could you stop? Dick? Those were quite shocked to hear what we found in Lakeland. Now that you're here, there's a proposal I should like to make. I've been spending a good deal of time in the Cabinet of Curiosity I have noted more and more people pursuing books on history of the years leading up to the Flood in particular. I suspect they wish to know more about the Warriors of Light, as they should, and nearly everything I've come across describes them as sin eaters or worse. Regardless of whether or not this warrior light is who they claim to be, I worry that their sudden appearance, in conjunction with the renewed interest in the predecessors, may lead to growing unrest and fear. If the people of the Crystarium seek the truth, I say we give it to them. I too can attest to the falsehoods found within many of the Cabinet's tomes, but nearly a mention of the noble deeds of Ardbert and his comrades. To be fair, they bear some responsibility for the Flood, but when the tale is told again and again over a course of century, I'm not surprised to see their roles distorted and them painted as villains. Were it not for the records stored within the Crystal Tower, I would have had no reason to question the narrative. Unfortunately, the knowledge was of no use, for when I arrived here in the first, their reputation had already been irreparably tarnished. That said, there still remain those who worked tirelessly to defend their good name in those early days following the Flood. Considering all the good they had done, I find it a wonder they need defending at all. They brought to justice the men who misused my knowledge to bring about the fall of Woodbert. That such heroes be spoken of in the same breath as sin eaters is absurd. In normal circumstances, I would agree, but as time passed, those who knew firsthand of their deeds dwindled. In the end, only one truth remained: they were the cause of the Flood. With the world on the brink of oblivion, it's all too easy for the Warriors of Light to become villains deserving only of resentment and hate. At that point, the truth mattered little. It would not change their lot. Thanks to you, however, their lot has changed. Now they may heed the long-forgotten truth. You claim it was Ardbert who helped you overcome Emmett Selt. Remember? Such a revelation would do well to sway the hearts of those who know him only as a villain. I have shared this with a select few, but one of all must be told of this sacrifice. To that end, I say we proceed with Alpha Node's plan. We call together the people of the Crystarium and recount them the true tale of the Warriors of Light and the Flood that followed in their wake. Well, what say you, Lion? Spread the word, I say. We are all of one mind on the matter. Good. Exarch, may I ask you to continue working with Beglug on our means of returning home? The rest will see to gathering the people of Crystarium in the extra. We will reach out to anyone and everyone who might be willing to lend a ear. With any luck, word will spread and more will accompany them. Okay, speak with the people of the Crystarium. Oh, these folks are kind of all over. Okay. Lion, what a wonderful surprise. Though I hope you being here doesn't mean anyone's been hurt. Thanks to you, I've had fewer patients coming to the door of late, which is a shame come to think of it. I've had fewer opportunities to test out my new medicines. I jest, of course. It's actually been quite pleasant to have a few moments to myself now and again. Truth about the Warriors of Light, but the Exarch has already spoken to me with me about them. Well, if there's more to the tale, I'd very much like to hear it. Yep, still gotta go up. Oops, went one too high. Well, what a coincidence. I was just reading over a letter I received from Grinold not long ago. It says a visitor from the Crystarium found him at the bottom of the ocean, and that he inspired him to reach new artistic heights. I can only think of one person capable of both feats. Though I'll say the letter is far more impressive. I think fate would bring the two of you together in such a place. I'm sorry. You mean the Exarch didn't tell us the whole story of the Warriors of Light? Well, whatever's left unsaid, I'm all ears. Yeah, let's go to the Cabinet of Curiosity, because I think I gotta go back down the stairs. It'd be faster to do this. That. No, this can't be. Surely there's at least one book that does not cast the shadows of light in their deeds in such a negative light. A lion, forgive me. The Cabinet of Curiosity has been bursting with visitors of late, and I fear our repository lacks the knowledge they seek. If you wish to know the truth of the flood of the Warriors of Light, I searched high and low, but alas, every account betrays them no better than sin eaters, abominations worthy of only scorn and resentment. I know that they are always judged so harshly, but I could find no proof. I dare call myself a librarian. You would address the people and tell the truth of the Warriors of Light, of the Flood. Wonderful. You have regaled me with the tale once before. I should love to hear it again. Well, you be rest assured I will not come alone. Okay, and then the next guy is, let's go to the Pendants. And the last guy's in the market, just straight down there. Well, to what do I owe the pleasure? Whatever it is, I'd ask you to be brief. Once the night returned, visitors have been flocking the Crystarium, and I found myself too busy by half. I don't mind it, though. Seeing the stars so full of life and excitement, one does not... can almost forget the flood ever happened. Warriors of Light. Yes, the Exarch had mentioned them before, but everyone knows them as the cardinal virtues. Are you suggesting there's more to it than that? You haven't steered us wrong, so I'm willing to hear what you have to say. Come to browse the wares of the markets, have you? I can guarantee you have no trouble finding whatever you need, whatever it may be. Under Yumar's new leadership, trade is becoming ever more prosperous. Word is that a fellow from Danaeus' Stoneworks has taken over as mayor. Did he really? No wonder business is booming the way it is. Imagine it won't be long before our Novrant reaps the benefits. But you've not come to talk about the market. Something on your mind? I see, the Exarch did mention it had something to do with your returning the night to Novrant. Alright, consider my interest piqued. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5 of them done today. There you are. Between the 4 of us, I dare say we swept the Crystarium from top to bottom. Need to wait for people to gather.
Yes, this looks to be nearly everyone. Let us begin, shall we? Though I am usually the first to hold forth at such events, I think on this occasion that honor should fall to you.
They would be more inclined to take the word of the Warrior of Darkness.
Indeed. In light of the subject matter, who better than thee to speak these truths?
Wicked White? The Warriors of Light did all that?
So they never... I mean, they only ever wanted to help. And when everything they'd done turned to ash, they still carried on.
They gave everything to stop the flood. First their lives, then their souls. And they managed it too, in the end. They saved us. And we cursed their names.
This should go a long way towards clearing the air. Impossible.
What?
I definitely see something. You don't think it's a ghost, do you?
Nay, yonder standeth no bloodless apparition, but a warrior of light and darkness both. Ardbert.
What in the world?
It's you! The one who slew the Eater!
that it should be the warrior of darkness who brought the truth to light. You've saved me a fair bit of time, though I have a few words of my own to say. People of the Crystarium, I am Ardbert, one of those you know as a warrior of light.
That's impossible. You should be dead.
Aye, that I should. But as the world has been given new life, so too have I. I know not why I, and I alone, have been gifted this chance. But I do know this. Only by the will of the star itself could such a miracle come to pass. The hero who stands before you now, the warrior of darkness, is not of this world. And the day will come when he must return to his home. But this land is our home. And if it is to remain so, now and forevermore, it is we who must protect it. The time to rely on saviors from afar has passed. It is you who must rise. You who must become the new warriors of light.
What? Us? Warriors of light?
None of us were born heroes, my friend. I was only ever a man with a thirst for adventure. But wherever my journeys took me, I was invariably confronted with the same choice. To lend what aid I could to those in need, or not. And I always chose the former. Any one of you could do the same. All you need is the will to help your fellow man, and the resolve to see it through.
From thine own lips did we learn of Ardbert's fate, and by thy countenance I gather thou art not inclined to recant thy testimony. Yet whosoever this man may be, his words hold truth and resonate with the citizenry besides. For us to voice our doubts here and now would serve but to sow disquiet. 'Twere better we retired unto the ocular and there discuss this matter in private.
Go. I will stay here and watch.
So, that is a warrior of light of the first. I've not had the pleasure of making his acquaintance, but as you all seem to be in agreement, I gather this is no simple case of mistaken identity.
As far as I was able to discern, that was indeed Ardbert. It has been a long time, but not that long. Could he truly have been resurrected as he claims?
It looks and sounds like him, but it isn't him.
Ardbert did entrust his very soul unto thee. I see no reason to question thy judgment.
Nor I. To my eyes, your ether burns as brightly as the day you slew Emmett Selk. That is proof that he is with you still.
What the fuck is going on?
Now before the people is far more than a passing imitation. I am reminded of the cardinal virtues, though a sin-eater he is not. Which leaveth but one plausible explanation.
Cassian?
that he is an Ascian.
Given their fondness for posthumous possession, I would have to agree. From what I understand, the Warriors of Light were laid to rest in Yulmore by those whom they had aided in life. At the time, some few still remembered them as heroes. Needless to say, 4 of them were subsequently exhumed to serve as the Virtues. And if one knew where to look, Ardbert too would not have been difficult to find.
Assuming then that this is indeed the work of an Ascian, my mind inevitably turns to the last remaining paragon to survive the Sundering.
Elidibus. That Xenos hath reclaimed his own flesh is known. Thus evicted from his borrowed form, and cognizant no doubt of Emetzelk's failure here in the First, 'tis quite possible the emissary chose Ardbert for his next vessel.
Inhabiting the flesh of the fallen? My, that is unsavory. And they do this often, you say?
Verily, for they possess no corporeal forms of their own. In what one may term their natural state, none save those gifted with the echo can perceive them. Indeed, when Elidibus intruded upon the waking sands, his presence did go unmarked by all save Minfilia and the Warrior of Light. On that occasion, I myself remained ignorant of his coming until after his departure. It was only at a later juncture, when he deigned to appear before me in borrowed flesh, that I was finally able to take the measure of him. In such puppetry do the Ascians engage when they seek to influence the course of history.
And they have gained much by it. Emetzelk single-handedly built the Garlean Empire in this manner, while La Hebrea came close to conquering Eorzea, having taken possession of Thancred's living body.
Yet it must needs be noted that the Ascians cannot avail themselves of all mortal vessels. For were they able to do so, none would serve as a better pawn than our own redoubtable champion. Mayhap the blessing of light shieldeth Hydaelyn's chosen from Ascian influence. Or mayhap other forces are at work. We cannot say for certain.
Whatever the reason, I hope it holds true. I dare not contemplate what might come to pass otherwise.
Is it not peculiar, then, that Ardbert's mortal remains should be susceptible, given that he was once a warrior of light? Or did the final departure of his soul make it possible, perhaps? Regardless, to hear an Ascian use him to call forth new warriors of light boggles the mind.
Elidibus hath ever been an enigma, his ostensible purpose being to preserve the balance between light and dark. When he made overtures towards me, however, I was afforded a glimpse behind the mask of the self-appointed emissary. I shall not defend mine actions, undertaken in pursuit of a better understanding of our foe as either wise or prudent. Nevertheless, what little I did glean may now prove useful. Elidibus possesseth a subtle mind, practiced in the art of manipulation. That he coaxed this star's most valiant heroes as far as the source with naught save half-truths is no trifling feat. And now I believe he doth employ his skills once more to some as yet unknown end. Though naught is certain, should my suspicions prove true, we shall have need of all our wits if we are to uncover and thereafter thwart his plot.
Agreed. 'Tis plain that simply speaking out against him will not avail us. At best, it would only serve to confuse the people. And I would hesitate to do anything which might tarnish Ardbert's reputation once more. nor yours by association. That being the case, it may be wise to keep a covert eye on this Ardbert's movements, as we attempt to discern his purpose and how best to mitigate his influence.
His performance appears to have concluded. What now? Go back out and follow him?
It would appear Master Alphino already hath pursuit in mind, and I suspect one pair of eyes shall better serve our cause than half a dozen. Let the rest of us maintain an inconspicuous distance, for the present at least.
You did well to dispel the falsehoods surrounding the Warriors of Light and their actions prior to the flood. But I must say the reappearance of Ardbert, or rather one appropriating his identity, was a rather curious development. He's an imposter, of that there is no doubt, but to the masses he will appear the hero returned from the grave. Their warrior light has laid rest in Yulmore. The people prayed fervently for the gods to deliver them from their plight. Pray that these fallen heroes be born again for their sacrifices. Bitter irony. I, for one, like to know why Ardbert urged the people to become warriors of light themselves. Ere we take action, we must ascertain his intent. Let's pray that Master Alphinaud returns soon with the most essential knowledge. For now, I think it's best to apprise Thancred and Rhine of our efforts. When we do confront Ardbert, it'd be no doubt have need of their strength. Agreed. I think it prudent to take all measures to prepare what is to come. Maglug and I will continue our research in how we might improve the spirit vessel that might one day carry you home. Then I think it's time I return to the Greatwood. Until now, everything we've learned of the Ascians has been handed to us at their leisure. But that was one of Emmett Selk's unique failings. I have no reason to think Elidibus will be as forthcoming. Fortunately, I received word from the Fanau that the heretofore unexplored chambers have been discovered deep within Kitana Ravel. Emmett believes the relics within tell a great calamity which befell an ancient civilization. That of the Ascians, perhaps? It may lead us to truths we seek. Would you care for company? I wouldn't dream of going without you. When you are ready, make for Fanau. Emmett and her sisters will be expecting us. And let us go about our task and pray and give our regards to the Vills? Is there anything else here? Doesn't look like it. Might be my last quest for today, because I gotta start getting ready for work. Welcome, allies of Ronka. We have accomplished much since you last came. When the Light Warden dead and its minions dispersed, we have at least reclaimed our hunting grounds near the Rakatika Falls. It was there that we discovered more ruins, though we ran afoul of no traps. While exploring its halls, we determined that the innermost chambers were warded by magic. We are all in agreement before any investigation could proceed, you should be summoned. We are grateful that you did. From what you have told me, I strongly suspect the wisdom of our comrades that I seek can be found within. The wisdom could prove invaluable. We may soon face a foe whose greatest asset is our ignorance. Indeed, and it is good that you have come. Veranka was once home to the greatest of weapons, knowledge and understanding. It is our duty to ensure that you and yours do not want for either. That said, we must proceed with caution. To reach the inner chambers unmolested suggests a more formidable deterrent yet lies within. Come now, surely any threats sleeping within the ruins pale in comparison to those we have faced thus far. Not a game, sister. You should not be eager so run headlong into danger. Oh, and who was it planning to for the return of the allies that we might venture into the ruins, clutching her staff at night, wishing it were... Promise not to tell. I suggest we get going. Oh, is this a hard version of the dungeon? I'd appreciate that. I won't be able to do it today, if that's the case, but remind me exactly how old are you and your sisters? And second, that perhaps it's better I do not know. Pray forgive our overzealous nature. None save we three have been privileged to escort you and yours into the ruins and bear witness to its secrets. Their heart now burns with the curiosity that is not easily sated. Please, no, you needn't apologize. As a seeker of knowledge myself, I understand full well their enthusiasm. And if it not for our sedulous efforts to protect the ruins, we would not be afforded this opportunity. Speaking of which, I believe I've kept you away from the ruins long enough. Come, let us make for Quatana Ravel. Yeah, I'm not gonna have time for a dungeon if this is. Feels strange for these halls to be left unguarded. Have care when breaking the seal of the chamber door. Danger awaits us on the other side. Yeah. For now, teleport back here, and I'm gonna end the stream. Not anyone will take the time to watch this, but appreciate it if you do. A lot of plot, but trying to at least catch up to where I'm able to do some content with people.